Welcome to Edge of Illumination. It is Renee. I cannot wait to check out this PBS clip on the Manosphere. PBS is hitting the hard-hitting topics they normally used to kind of shy away from a bit, and it's exciting to see them kind of go back to the core of what PBS is. It also makes me wonder, maybe this is part of the reason why they've been defunded for the most part, because when PBS is doing what they're supposed to do, sometimes they have some of the most raw, truth-telling exposés I've ever seen. So in addition to being a musician, I'm also a sociologist. I have degrees in that and behavioral science and more. And the Manosphere has been a huge thing. It has definitely impacted my life. I have been in so many different arguments with Manosphere people, or them trying to provoke arguments with me. And I have literally seen and watched how it has changed sensible, logical men into extremists, for the most part, into people that hold beliefs that don't have logic, but instead are going based off of emotion and outdated ideals, and definitely include a lot of scapegoating. So I'm looking forward to hearing how PBS describes it and what they have to say about this. So let's go.
Like many his age, Brian Campbell says he grew up an iPad kid, playing a lot of video games.
You about to lose anyway, it don't matter.
And when the COVID pandemic forced schools to shift to remote learning when he was 12, his primary connection with friends was online.
I would spend all my time on the internet. Either I'm playing the video game or on TikTok, or both. Fortnite, NBA 2K. If me and my friends get bored playing it for 10 hours, then we scroll on TikTok and send each other videos, and then we get back to playing the game.
Eventually, content with a specific perspective started showing up on Campbell's feeds.
It is so easy to become a top-tier male in the world today because the competition is so ridiculously low.
Topics masqueraded as informational kind of male improvement. I think a lot of these people have lived more life. They're rich, they're nice car, all that. Like what society says is the ideal for a young man.
The message appealed to Campbell, and the more he engaged with it, the more he saw. Campbell had found himself in the heart of what's known as the Manosphere. The term broadly refers to online communities that create and share content aimed at men and boys. But there's growing concern about the ideas behind that content. Misogynistic, often conspiratorial beliefs about gender roles and masculinity. And thanks to a handful of key influencers, the Manosphere's reach has exploded. In an attempt to quantify that growth, researchers in Dublin set up accounts on multiple...
You know what's funny about some of those guys are paid plants, though? It's already come out that some of those guys receive money to spread ideologies. And it's no surprise that they're targeting a whole generation of young guys. But is it really helping them? Is it making them happier? Well, I don't think that happiness is the goal, but let's keep going.
Full social media apps posing as teenage boys. Last year, they reported that in less than half an hour, every one of the accounts was fed Manosphere content, whether they sought it out or not.
That's scary.
In the post-Me Too movement, we've seen this surge of online misogyny in particular.
Cynthia Miller-Idris is the founder of the Polarization and Extremism Research and Innovation Lab at American University. Her book, Man Up, The New Misogyny and the Rise of Violent Extremism, will be published in the fall.
They land on an influencer who's offering them often very tangible and real help that makes a difference, right? Like get 8 hours of sleep and drink water and get to the gym. And they package that with scapegoating of women or treatment of women or an idea of success as being, dominant. And so, your life is improving while you're starting to believe this other stuff.
Women sell purity, men sell success.
This is seen as a more dominant position.
A woman wants sex more than the guy does.
The average woman will always cheat more than the average man.
That's the sort of content Campbell was seeing. Soon, he was echoing those ideas.
How women want to control us, and us as young men, we have to not be at the whim of women, and stuff I didn't really know what I was talking about, but it sounded good.
Campbell's dad, Al, and his older brother, Brandon, who had fallen down similar rabbit holes when he was younger, noticed a change.
He started mentioning a lot of things typical of someone who believes that the world is against them, where you think that If you are not, I'll say in quotes, superior, then something's wrong. He was kind of taking on opinions that didn't sound like his own. They were opinions that I myself once had because I had gained them from someone else.
While Brian was seeing this material, were you aware of it?
I guess I didn't really pick up on it at first. But over time, you say a few things, it gets a little concerning, like, hey, my wife's gonna clean up after me. Being the alpha male and the this and the that and the type of guy that's the strongest, the baddest, and everybody needs to bow down and respect you, but then you don't have to respect anybody else.
When it comes to behavior like this, there's really no excuse for it, but there may be an explanation for it.
Psychologist and author Lisa D'Amour specializes in adolescent development.
It's helpful to think about 12-year-old boys in broader context. Girls hit puberty before boys do. So what this means is that for 7th grade boys in general, the girls are often beating them at recess, and then they come into the classroom and the girls are often beating them in school. So if you are a 12 or 13-year-old boy and you have had a very rough day at school where a girl outran you at recess and then had all the right answers when you didn't understand what was happening in class, and you come home feeling pretty small and you hop online and there is somebody telling you, listen, guys are actually great and the thing that's holding us back are girls, that is pretty compelling.
Jamie, I want you to listen carefully.
I don't know if I fully agree with what she just said, but it's possible.
Online radicalization and the Manosphere are at the center of the Emmy-nominated Netflix miniseries Adolescence, the platform's most-watched show in the first half of the year, with 145 million views. It's a fictional account of how these influences lead a teenage boy to murder a female classmate.
It's a call to action by the Manosphere. 80% of women are attracted to 20% of men. You must trick them because you'll never get them in a normal way.
In real life, there's a growing number of examples of Manosphere culture affecting interactions between boys and girls.
It's like little things like, oh, you should be back in the kitchen. And even though it's a joke, some people take it really far.
There are games that I've stopped playing because every single time I joined, I'd receive a threat.
Me and my former roommate were chased on campus by 2 different men saying that they were going to have a lot of fun with us that night.
Those kinds of things are have migrated from online worlds into real life. Sometimes in ways that boys are just trying to be provocative, sometimes in ways that are really dangerous stepping stones on the way to more harmful and violent content and behaviors.
Experts say the key to combating the spread of these ideas and preventing their worst effects is to engage with young men.
Don't start with a lecture. Start instead with a question. Ask, have you seen this? What is it like to see it? What do you think adults don't know about this that we should probably know? And how can I be helpful?
So far in this mini documentary, they're focusing a lot on adolescents. I would love to see more of a focus on college-aged and above, but it's really scary to think of how it's going to affect 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds, 14-year-olds who have been indoctrinated with this. However, there is still some time to course correct, but it's still going to have an effect on their psyche.
That's what happened to Brian Campbell in Detroit. Around Thanksgiving 2020, his older brother, home from college, sat him down for a long conversation.
So I wanted him to have a more, reflective idea of how he was engaging with others, how he viewed people, and how he interacted with them, less as ideas or groups of people, but as individuals.
Campbell says that talk helped pull him out of the Manosphere. He still sees online videos pushing misogynistic views, but he says he's able to tune them out and click not interested.
A lot of it was reminding myself about people in my life, like my grandma, my mom, remembering that there are real life women in my life that I respect and love, and that there's more to it than what the internet shows.
This fall, Campbell will be a senior in high school. His summer is filled with internships and other programs. Now, when he hears friends make misogynistic comments, he tries to speak up. What I won't do, he says, is be complicit. For the PBS NewsHour, I'm John Yang in Detroit.
That was kind of interesting. I didn't really think too much about how it's affecting 12, 13, and 14-year-olds, possibly because I feel like that's more of the role of the parents to come in. I feel like parents should be looking at what their children are viewing and observing their children and things of that nature. But it definitely is an ideological issue because some of these Manosphere influencers are paid heavily, it's been rumored, are paid heavy funds by different people who wish to control different ideas about how men see women and how women see men. But it turns into a horrific thing because when you have women that are being fed their own types of propaganda and then men that are being fed their own types of propaganda, it's like setting people up to battle and to not be at peace and to not be able to just talk. And I wish there was more separation where people could realize, you know, I saw this online, I agree with some of it, but I'm also going to listen to what this person has to say. You know, maybe they are more than just a bunch of preset programs. And we're getting away a bit from people just listening to each other and communicating and reflecting and doing self-reflection. Instead, it seems more like a lot of people are just being straight out programmed. The Manosphere really echoes, to me, a lot of what I see with race and racism, where there's a high degree of scapegoating, marginalization, us versus them, and as if racial division wasn't enough. Now there is more of a extreme gender divide between women and men. Am I surprised by this? No, absolutely not. Is it discouraging and sad to watch? Yeah, because if you try to reason with a lot of people who have consumed a lot of this content heavily, they have already written you off. They already have put a label on you. They don't want to hear what you have to say. Even though you might be agreeing with them with some of the things, you just want to share a different perspective. There's no middle with the Manosphere culture. That's the problem. It's either far extreme over here or far extreme over there. There's no middle. So if there's no middle, then there can be no healthy communication. And I think that is the goal. The goal is to eliminate connection. It's to eliminate positive resonance that people have with each other and turn us into just looking at everybody as a rule of thumb. Oh, these people are this way because they look like this, because they act like that. Where I feel like the Manosphere has most heavily targeted people is when it comes to marginalized women of color, particularly Black women. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Has your life improved since listening to the Manosphere or being around those who listen to the Manosphere, or have things gotten worse? I know for myself, communication with those who are heavily involved with the Manosphere has declined tremendously. We can't even talk people that I knew for years because they assume, oh, you're this color, you're this gender, you went to school, so you're going to think this way. And I'm like, actually, no, I don't agree with that. But they already have a preset script and a preset narrative of who I am. And I feel like the Manosphere helped to strengthen that. What I have not noticed, though, is it actually improving men's lives in terms of making them more confident, feel better, look better. I have noticed men becoming more isolated, more alienated, and feeling more hopeless, and feeling even more disconnected than ever from the opposite sex and sometimes each other. But they still turn to these guys thinking that if they just get buffer, if they get more money, then everything is going to be okay. Talk to you later. Till next time. Bye-bye.